We good? Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. Good to see you. Oh, it feels like it's been a hot minute, isn't it? It's been a hot minute since we were live. Oh, good to see you all, though. Good to see you all. Am I excited for shenanigans? I am indeed. I think there will be shenanigans here this weekend. I think there will be. But welcome everyone, evening. Hope you're doing well. It's nice to have an evening session here in the UK, to be fair. Very nice. So yeah, nice to not miss a session here this weekend. So yes, FP1, and then we have sprint quali. Yes, sprint quali. It's a sprint race weekend, guys. So be sure to tune in later on. So drivers only have an hour and teams only have an hour to dial in their setups. So we'll see how that fares for them. But welcome everyone. How am I doing? I'm doing well. I've just played my first round of golf today in a year. Considering I used to be a golfer as a full-time career. It's a very long way. My body is, even though it's not a very strenuous sport, when you haven't played for a year, it is strenuous on the body. Yeah, so it was enjoyable. Some good shots, more bad shots than there were good shots, but it was good fun. And yeah, I was a little, was under the weather the last week or so. I had COVID. I've now got over it, still lingering a little bit, got a little bit of an annoying cough. But yeah, other than that's why there wasn't really any content or any live streams over the past week or so. And I've been playing plenty of Battlefield. Battlefield 6 has come out, so I've been going pew pew on Battlefield. It's been nice to play a first-person shooter game for a good few years as well. So yeah, went to Hyde Park yesterday, Camo. Oh, nice. I'm so I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live, but I live like London area outside. I don't live in London. I live around the outside of London areas. You can never guess which one it is. But yeah, no, Hyde Park. I've been there plenty of times. Yeah, of course. So, was it delayed? Revved? No, it wasn't delayed. It was me getting the timings wrong. So when I look at the schedule for Sky Sports, there's two that they have. They have the on-air time and they have the actual session start time. And I looked at the on-air time, and I just wasn't. After going golf today, I just wasn't ready to go live 45 minutes before it went home. Went going. So right. Anyway, let's change scene. Right, make sure we get everything all tickety-boo, all set up. I think we do. Maybe I can make that a bit wider. But that needs to go over there. There we go. So 0% chance of rain. It is a hot circuit of the Americas. So air temperature is only 29 degrees, but this is the morning session. And it is 39-degree track temperature. So we'll see how that fares here this weekend. Last year it was a simple one-stop strategy, so a bit boring. So hopefully that's not the case here this weekend, but we'll see. So yeah, apologies there was no preview video. That's because yeah, I was feeling under the weather. Right, let's turn off those. Where are they? Dearest detection points. We don't need those at the moment. We don't need those. East Texas has arrived, yeah. Is there a heat alert in place for this weekend? I don't know, Carl, to be completely honest with you. I'm looking at the TV coverage, and what it is, it's windy. It is looking like it's quite windy in the pit lane. So it is blowing. You can see there the wind is actually only, what, 2.9 kilometers an hour. But the thing is there's a lot of, what's the right word? Undulation? So you got to remember, turn 20 is like the lowest point of the track, and they go all the way up to the highest point of the track, which is turn 1. And then they come all the way down again. So there's varying areas of this track where you can get caught out. So what we do see is a lot of lockups. and that's because of just the nature of this circuit with how it rises and decreases. Is that the right word? Probably not, but yeah. Thought FP1 was at 11 PM. No. Did I see that Daniel Ricciardo was fighting? Fighting what? So I'm doing very well though. Yes, there is a heat alert. Oh wow, a heat alert. So yeah, I mean, I know people that have been to Circuit of the Americas, and they always say, and I wonder if they would have introduced some this year, but they always say there is just nowhere to find shade. There's just so much, like anywhere there is to find shade at Circuit of the Americas is just taken up. But there's large proportions of the circuit where you just cannot find any shade at all. So yeah, that's important for the fans to stay hydrated and ensure you've got plenty of sunscreen and take an umbrella if you are there trackside, basically. But make sure it doesn't blow away. Lando needs to wipe that smirk off Oscar's face since the repercussions from Singapore. Yes. So, I've been out the loop, really, as I said, with F1 the last couple of days. I haven't paid too much attention to it heading into this weekend because I've just been busy with work and other matters. And I've seen this repercussions thing pop up today. And I was wondering what you were all talking about. And I had a look at the comments. And first things first, it's a bit of a leading question from Ted Kravitz. So if you're wondering what this is, Ted Kravitz from Sky Sports has asked, will there be any repercussions from what happened in Singapore, i.e. the car contact and Lando getting ahead of Oscar in the first couple of corners? And Lando replied and said, yes, there are repercussions, which is a bold thing to say because you're basically saying there is a consequence. There is going to be a consequence further down the line in relation to that move you made on Oscar. And then Ted Kravitz did ask what those repercussions will be, and Lando cheekily said, sorry, you only get to ask one question. And then Ted Kravitz asked the same thing to Oscar Piastri, and he said, oh, you'll have to think of your own imagination. Now, I don't really know what to make of it. I've got a couple of thoughts, but my first thought is I think Lando may have said the wrong thing. I don't think he necessarily means there's a repercussion. I think he probably means that he has been told off. I think. But as you say there, Dan, if there are repercussions, are they financial or sporting? And you've got to think, if there are repercussions, it's only financial rather than sporting. Because even then, though, it is utterly ridiculous if McLaren have issued repercussions and proper consequences for Lando's move there. Like, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. And it will just top off these utter ridiculous papaya rules that are currently in effect at the moment. However, if it has come about, you've got to think that Mark Webber has probably gone in there. Maybe we're giving Mark Webber too much credit, but maybe Mark Webber's gone in there and put his foot down and read the riot act or something to Zach Brown and Andrea Stella. It just seems utterly bizarre that there would be repercussions for that move. Yep, an understanding. So that's it. Speaking of understanding, Oscar Piastri said Lando admitted there's an understanding between the two drivers or something, is what he said. And Lando has owned up to it. But repercussions is a very odd bit of wording and grammar. So they should tell Mark to quiet down. I totally agree, Dan. I think they should. I think if Mark Webber is going in there and shouting, it's like an agent. It's like an agent going in there for a football player and shouting at like Sir Alex Ferguson when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge of Man United. Tell him to move on, kick on. Yes, you want the best for your representative, for your client as his representative, but Get a move on. I think Lando is pissed and he leaked it deliberately. Maybe. Financial won't make any difference. They are millionaires. Papaya rules are finished. I just don't know how there can be a repercussion for it. And if there is, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. And it just sums up. I mean, I just think, I know people will say, oh, he didn't make it. I mean, the Oscar Piastri fans, you've been very vocal. I give credit to you. You've been backing your man and you've been very vocal on social media the past couple of weeks. That's the one thing that I kind of have seen in this interim period from Singapore. And yeah, don't piss off the Aussies. But yeah, I think, look, ultimately, he left the door open for his teammate. He went in for it. If Oscar Piastri was in that same position, you'd want Oscar to make that same move as well. So, yes, I get it, obviously, with the papaya rules and so forth, and we discussed it at the time. Oscar is within his right to also feel aggrieved that, obviously, contact was made. But then, if you're a Lando fan at the same time, you're happy that he's gone for it, and you'd be upset if he hadn't gone for it. I think it's all a way to create a story. They can't seriously punish Lando for racing. It's all just to keep people talking about McLaren. Maybe, but I think it's Look, if anything, with the PR that they've had recently, with the Alex Palou case as well, I don't think this is what McLaren would have wanted. So it wouldn't surprise me that the PR team are probably happy with Lando's comments there, to be honest with you. So we'll see. Hey Ben, good to see you, mate. Welcome everyone though. Welcome. Hope you are good. Not long to go until FP1 gets underway here. Just under 4 minutes time. Do I think Max Verstappen has a chance still, Sabina? Yes, he still does. Look, he's got a very, very slim outside chance. He's 63 points behind. But the problem for Max is that it's outside of his control. He needs something to happen between the two McLarens. That's the only reason why it is a slim chance, is because Max, yes, he still needs to win every single race pretty much between now and the end of the season, but he also needs something from those McLarens. So that's why it's a slim chance for him. Any improved result for Ferrari? We're heading into round... What round is this? Is this round 17? 18? Is this round 18? Have you watched this season? Have you watched the previous 17 rounds? Round 19. Have you watched the previous 18 rounds? No, there's no hope for Ferrari. Unless everyone crashes in front of them, i.e. Verstappen and the two McLaren. So, the move was okay, but the papaya rule made it worse. Exactly, and that's why these papaya rules are ridiculous, really, because that is just hard racing. A driver has gone for a move, they're racing for the apex, they're racing each other, and Lando's a lucky boy. Lando is a lucky boy that he didn't pick up any further front wing damage as well. So, but sometimes it's the luck of the draw when you go for those moves. If Oscar wins the World Driver Championship now, it'll be an empty victory. This isn't how a team should go racing. I don't think it's an empty victory for either of them, but it's a very unique championship. We haven't seen a championship between teammates managed in this way before. And that's why it's so shocking to everyone, really, pretty much. Apparently, Lewis warned Oscar about McLaren's instructions, and now they can ruin his chances. So we didn't warn Oscar. He was asked last time around in Singapore, I think it was, when someone said to him, "Oh, if he was in Oscar's position, what would you advise him?" And he goes, "Don't give up any more positions to your teammate in the future," i.e., Monza. So. My pleasure, V. Hey, Pat, good to see you all the way from South Africa again. Pharaoh, tyre strategy. How likely is it, since there are only 2 sets of C1 hard compound tyres provided, will some of the teams start on C1 hards, finish, and push on softs? Yeah, so looking at the tyre selections for last year compared to this year, it looks like that it's most likely going to be a one-stop strategy here again, I think. I don't think we're going to see... Unless the track temperatures really do get high and they proceed to go in excess of 50 degrees, which is a possibility, then we may see a 2-stop. But for the most part, it's probably going to be a one-stop strategy again. We saw that was the case last year. It's probably going to be the case this year. We're on the same level of compounder tyre. So, yeah. Ferrari won't improve. They've abandoned trying to develop the stock of a car. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else now. And to be honest, if you listen to some of the rumours that have come out, green light, pit exit open, by the way, guys. If you've listened to some of the reports that have been coming out, supposedly Ferrari throughout this regulation set have been very, very aggressive with their design, floating around the design in grey areas, and then grey areas have been, these loopholes in the regulations have been closed down, which has massively impacted Ferrari. And then, of course, their changing concept for this year was massive as well, wasn't it? It was a massive change in concept after they had a strong base last year, considering they won here last year. They pushed McLaren for the constructors, and then you look how McLaren have been able to kick on and still been dominant for the most part this season. Ferrari fell to the wayside with a change in approach. So yeah, lots of internal discussions and reviews being had by the looks of it from the higher ups at Ferrari, as there bloody well should be. We've mentioned this numerous times, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But the Horner rumours, Christian Horner to Ferrari rumours, are completely made up, so do not look into that too much. That's clearly just his camp trying to stir the pot, and supposedly Christian Horner's camp have been calling up every single team on the grid, whether there's an opportunity for him to get back into F1 quickly. So yeah, he doesn't want to take his money and sit on the sidelines for a while. He clearly wants to get straight back in. You hope for the sake of my voice it's going to be a straightforward race. No, we don't want a straightforward race. We want some drama, don't we? No way would Ferrari have such a loose cannon like Horner in their camp. Exactly. I think also as well, I think you need an Italian. You need to be able to speak Italian. I just do. I just think there's too much of a bridge. While of course I do think they should set up a stable in the UK to attract some better engineers and some better talent. I think the head of Ferrari needs to be able to speak Italian. I don't think you can speak for a translator to get your point across, but they do need to look at setting up some form of operations in the UK now, as every team does. They could still be mainly based out of Italy, but to at least secure some better talent, where people don't have to up sticks to a new country, they can poach from the other big teams, just like Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren, and most of them all do. They're always changing hands. Or people are always changing companies and teams, because they're all in the UK. They're all within 2 hours of each other. So, George Russell telemetry issues again. Let's have a look, shall we? I don't know if he's out on track at the moment. We'll see. We're at a DRS detection points. You don't really need to see where the DRS detection points are at the moment, Kai. They're irrelevant when it comes to practice and the sprint quali. We will put the DRS detection points on when it comes to sprint race tomorrow and the race on Sunday. So just try to clear up the track, clean up the track as much as possible. So yeah, it does look like George Russell's transponder is having issues at the moment, guys. So he is out there setting lap times, as you can see, Sector 2 and Sector 3, but his icon is not moving. So, well, this is just water. Just water. Zach Brown said Arrivederci once he could work for Ferrari. You despise Horner, but Cadillac is mad for not considering bringing him on. This is the thing, Ben. I also agree. I'm not the guy's biggest fan. However, you cannot deny it that he is a good team principal for what he's been able to achieve in the sport. And also, he is a guy who will die. He will die for his drivers. Look at what he did for Max in particular. Like, he will support his drivers through thick and thin, even if they are blatantly in the wrong. And yeah, he will go to town for them, and that's the sort of guy that you need. Sky Sports coverage shockingly bad for me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really paying too much attention to it at the moment. So it seems to be okay from my end. What was the pole time for 2024? Good question. Let's have a check, shall we? But welcome everyone for tuning in. Hope you're good. We achieved 60,000 subscribers last time around in the Singapore Grand Prix. So thank you. We are looking to try and achieve 65,000 subscribers now. So we'll see how that fares. Tall order to do it this weekend, but it'd be nice to get a bit closer. George's transponder has had issues this year. It has, yes. It's had issues throughout this year. Bahrain was the big one. So it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Lewis Hamilton quickest in the first. But everyone on the hard compound tyre now, you can see Alonso and Stroll have scrubbed off a couple of sets of set off of mediums, as they always do. But they have 2 brand new sets of hards available here this weekend. So they're using the hards. The tyre allocations, I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. But every team has the same amount of tyres to use throughout the race weekend. They no longer select which tyres they bring. So it's most likely they're going to save a set of hard compound tyres for the race on Sunday, because that is always a race tyre here. But then they have to be careful here of when they use the mediums and when they use the softs. Because, of course, the sprint race, Q1 and Q2, they have to qualify on the mediums. So they have to think about looking after those. And then, more often than not, it's a medium compound tyre for the race, for the sprint race. And then you're also thinking about, do I want to keep a set of mediums for the race on Sunday? Most likely you do. So what we'll see here is that we'll see drivers, as Lewis goes top at the timing screens with 36.6, we'll see drivers do laps, do some long runs here on the hards, and then probably in the closing 20 minutes of this session, we'll see them get into quali trim mode. Remember, these drivers now and these teams with the sprint race, they are allowed to change their setups after the sprint race. So if they realise they've made a terrible decision with their setup for the sprint quali and the sprint race where they are locked in, they are now, between the sprint race and the qualifying tomorrow, able to change their setups. And that's where we can then see an even different change up of the order when it comes to qualifying tomorrow. And of course, track conditions and air conditions can also play a factor as well, as we're keeping a close eye on that today. 53% humidity and track temperature is 40 degrees. So expect that to see that go high up. The 5 teams with special liveries really did a great job with them. I disagree. I don't really... I'm not a fan, really, of the... I'm not a fan of the RB livery. It looks like a... Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a weapon camouflage that you get in Battlefield or Call of Duty. That's what it reminds me of, like a tiger. It's like a tiger livery or something. Tiger jungle livery, like that's like camouflage. That's what it looks like to me. So they have 2 sets of hards, 4 sets of mediums, and 6 sets of softs, as well as 5 sets of intermediates. Okay, so there we go. What are my top 3 most fun races according to me on the current calendar? Fun. So for me, fun and the most enjoyable races are the ones where we get the best racing that we can. I think for this, so I always look forward to Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, and Interlagos. They're my 3 tracks I think always provide. I do like Bahrain as well. I think Bahrain provides us some good racing as well. So I think those 4 in particular, but I think the first 3 I mentioned, the Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, and Interlagos, are tracks that definitely always provide great races. And I think we always see races for the win. 2 of those tracks in particular, Silverstone and Interlagos, have varying weather conditions, which always provides drama. But they're just great circuits as a whole. And also the thing is as well is Alex Albon said this as well. The reason why these tracks in particular have been so good still for racing in this current set of regulations, where we know dirty air is such an issue, is that the tracks are large enough and wide enough that different lines can be taken into corners. So they can negate the dirty air. So they can find pockets of clean air to ensure that they get good traction out of corners. And that's why we see more side-by-side action at those circuits. So those are the ones that, as the cars are as they are right now, provide good racing. What tracks? This is also another good one as well. So we have also seen, and Circuit Americas is also falls into that group of where it's large enough that different lines can be taken. and that's why we see lots of side-by-side action here. Last year's lap record was 1:36.1. Last year's quali times are 1:33.3. Okay, so we're like a good 3 seconds off, but they're on the hard compound tyre, so don't expect them to go quick at all. For you, it's Jeddah, Interlagos, and Bahrain. I'm surprised you chose Jeddah. I think Jeddah's a good circuit to see them go quali mode at, but I think for racing, there's more than a lot left to be desired there. What happened to Russell? His car is okay. There's no issues with his car. It's just a case of his transponder is failing again for some reason, which has been the case a few times this season. So yeah, not entirely sure what's going on there, but he is out there doing laps. But remember, this track as well, it is to an extent a driver's track. The time can be made up. Of course, you're always limited to the machinery underneath you, but this is very much this is a technical track. And it is a track where drivers, they either do well here or they don't, really. There's no kind of middle ground. They either get their eye in very quickly and they have confidence and they know how to drive this circuit. And the driver can definitely be someone who makes a big difference. And Lewis is an example. Probably has always, even when the Mercedes was struggling in this regulation set, he has always gone well here. The driver is able to make up the difference, under braking in particular, and with, of course, the lines that are taken here, like being good on tyres and on the throttle. So, yeah, I expect the McLarens. So my predictions for here this weekend is that McLarens will dominate. I didn't get to do a preview, guys. So my preview right now and my predictions are McLaren are going to be 1-2. I think they're going to be comfortable 1-2. I don't think this is a circuit where I don't think this is a circuit where Max is going to be able to split them. And that could come and be humble pie, but I just don't think they're going to be able to offset with a lower downforce package. With the McLarens in the medium to high speed corners here. The McLarens are going to be so quick for the middle and last sector. That's really where they're going to make up the time. And in qualifying, they're just going to be out up front. And I think it's going to be one of those races where it's like Max, it's all about lap one for Max. If Max can try and hold on to track position, get ahead of the McLarens, there's no doubt that he could probably qualify like on the second row. But I think he needs similar to kind of like a Spa situation where he needs to just try and get out up front and hold the McLarens back, because while the McLarens will have the pace in the medium and the medium to high speed corners, they're then going to have to wait. It's going to be very difficult to them to overtake down into turn one with the top speed differential that no doubt Max will have over the McLarens as he has done all season, and of course down that back straight as well. They're the two primary overtaking opportunities. However, we could see tyre temps be a real issue here this weekend. 43 degrees is the track temp right now, and that is something that the Red Bull of Max and the likes of George Russell even said it as well. They haven't had to worry about in the last 3 races in Singapore, Baku, and Monza. So while the Red Bull has made advancements, it is not, and it has arguably got closer to the McLaren. Those 3 tracks haven't fallen into the strengths, in particular when it comes to the tyres, of the McLaren. And the nature of those tracks haven't fallen into the strengths of the McLaren. Whereas this track is a McLaren track, so we'll see. Oh, Samuel, thank you for the membership there, by the way, buddy. A year, man. A year. Got that nice little star. Apologies for the little coughs, guys. Apologies, I'm just getting over COVID. I've had COVID the past week or so. So just getting over that. Thank you, Sam. And yes, anyone who wants to who is new to this channel, or you've been watching this channel for quite some time, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 65,000 subscribers. It'd be much appreciated. Is my little one in nursery yet? Yeah, she's gone. We've got a childminder. Absolutely brilliant childminder. Love her to pieces. And yeah, she's been going to there. So we're in the full swing of her going, to childminder and stuff. Thanks, Dan. Do I think that Lewis will ever get redemption and add his 8th title? I don't know. To be honest with you. Really don't. Never say never. Just that's probably what I'd say. I think F1's just very difficult to kind of predict. I mean, next season in particular is very difficult to predict. Everyone thinks Mercedes, but I don't know. So I know, Mike. Yeah, I've experienced that already. It's illness season, isn't it? But let's take an eye on some lap times. So Max is fastest with Yuki up there in P2. So good lap times from them. Lando Norris, P3 there. Oscar Piastri is P8. So we don't know fuel loads. Don't look too much into this at the moment, guys. We don't know fuel loads. We don't know engine modes at this stage of this session. They are obviously focusing on some long-run data at the moment. So they'll have separate run plans. We can get a little bit more interesting when it comes to the push laps, which will be happening, no doubt, in probably the next 20 minutes or so. In the last 20 minutes of this session, that's when we can get a little bit more interesting as they dial it in for sprint quali in a few hours' time. Foster, welcome to the pit crew again, by the way. Much appreciated. Mike, in your opinion, if Ferrari aren't the fastest next year, there'll be no more titles for Lewis. Jesus. I agree. To be honest with you, I think if they don't get off to a good start with this regulation set, that's it for Lewis. Yeah, because you don't see Lewis staying. Don't see Lewis staying for what the next until the regulations change again. So you're talking another 3 years. Lewis, if he's lucky, he may get, and if he's still got the motivation, he may get 1 year in 2029. Because 2029 is when the regs are going to change again, slightly. So he may get that. But yeah, that's... If he doesn't get off to a good start next season, or Ferrari in particular don't get off to a good start next season, then yeah, you can kiss that 8th goodbye. Oh, there we go. George is back on track. Whee! His transponders worked. I've had the Rona. Yeah, I've had the Rona. It's just... I had COVID when it was properly going about, of course, when most people did, and that was like being hit by a double-decker bus. That was proper. Now it's just a strong cold, from my personal experience. So yeah, of course it depends on what age you are, but yeah, it's just something that just lingers, for a week, which is just very frustrating. Rather than getting over a cold after, say, a day, 2 days or so. Sky Sports News are not showing F1. Oh, unbelievable. Well, let's check in with Liam Lawson, shall we? He's currently 14th. Isaac Hadji is 18th. How will the RBs fare here? I don't know. It's not always been a strong track for the second Red Bull team. So Liam Lawson, though, did get punchy here last year, of course. He returned to F1, didn't he, last year, in replacement of Daniel Ricciardo. And he ended up doing a good job and getting under the skin of Fernando Alonso. So this is a track Liam Lawson likes. But of course, Isaac Hadji is still flying high at the moment, so we'll see how they fare. Lewis Hamilton seems to be dialing that car in quite nicely. But we know with Ferrari that it's false promises when it comes to practice. But yeah, we'll see how they fare. We're still some way off of pole position lap time of last year, 1:33. So we are... we know that these cars are on average a second quicker per circuit, but we head to, as Lawson did head up there into P7, splitting the two Ferraris momentarily as Lewis is coming around the last couple of corners. So, yeah, we are some way off of the lap times that these cars can achieve. You had it once, gone in 3 days. I'd rather have it than a cold. Oof, lucky boy, Peter. Lucky boy. Lost sense of taste when I had it. Everything. Yeah, I had losing your sense of taste is one of the weirdest things. It's bizarre. The only way that I could get any satisfaction from food was just put a load of chili flakes and a load of spice on things. All I could feel was temperature. Yeah, it's very bizarre. I don't think my missus who had it, I still don't think she's fully recovered her sense of smell and taste. So I know that's something that people have stated. There was a period of time where there was quite a long period of time for about a year where she just kept smelling onions. Very bizarre. She was like, it just smells like onions. You cooking onions? I was like, no. She's like, oh, it smells like onions. Very strange. Sprint quali is in 3 hours. It is indeed. Yes, so do not fear, guys. I do have the stream set up for sprint quali. So when this stream ends, it will send you directly over to the live stream for sprint quali so that you can leave it open on your device or just hit the notification button, hit the like button, and you will be notified, of course, 30 minutes before it goes live. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Remember, sprint quali in a few hours' time is on the first two qualies. Q1 and Q2 is on the medium compound tyre. But that's a decent lap time there from Lewis Hamilton. So 34.8 for him. But if we look at last year, let's have a look at FP1 times for last year. Also, and we'll discuss it afterwards, but how are you US viewers feeling about the... Oh, there's a red flag. Why is there a red flag? No one's crashed, I believe. There must be something out there on circuit that has occurred. TV coverage has gone to the TV coverage has gone to an advert. So I don't know why there's clearly something out on track right now. Is there a fire? Is it a fire again? Is it a grass fire? Oh no, we got another grass fire. Unbelievable. No one's crashed. It supposedly could be a grass fire. We've seen that multiple times here this year. Where have they got grass though? I thought there's just concrete everywhere. It's concrete runoff everywhere, isn't it? Or maybe it's out the exit of turn 11? I don't think there is grass. So there's something out on track. We'll see. We will wait and see. Maybe something's flown off of a car. Maybe someone's hit the... Robbie, by the way, 11:44. Thank you, buddy. I missed that. Thank you. I'm still waiting for TV coverage to see exactly what has occurred. Not entirely sure. I was trying to find... Right, so results. So trying to find last year. So if we go to last year... And we can go to... Miami, United States. United States last year. So FP1 session last year. Fastest lap time was a 33.6. So we're still kind of a second, 1.2 seconds off of fastest lap of last year. There's a $200 tomato track here. There is some in the corners of 3 and 9. Is there? What, through the S's? Yeah, so how do you US viewers feel about Apple TV buying the rights to F1? So, from what I have read, supposedly what I have read is that there was... Now the track's clear. There was a deal breaker. Apple TV wanted to remove the access of F1 TV from viewers, and F1 went, no, we're not doing that. So F1 TV viewers supposedly will be able to get... Oh, it's out the last corner, double yellow. That's interesting. So is it the last corner then? Red flag is debris in the penultimate corner. Oh, okay. Just look... Oh, yeah, so looking at the replay now, and it looks like Lance Stroll went wide out of turn 19 and something from the underside of his car flew off. So, yes, there's debris on the curb of turn 19. So it's Lance Stroll running wide. The corner where we see so often, the corner where we saw Lewis Hamilton lose it last year, in that corner, and where we see track limits violated so often through there. But yeah, it does sound like they're keeping the F1 broadcasts. So you can still gain access to F1 TV, supposedly, is what they're saying. But it will be cheaper via an Apple TV subscription. But Apple TV in themselves are going to be presenting their own broadcast and their own coverage. So, yeah. That's... I think it's, yeah, you can choose both, pretty much. So it's not too bad. You're not losing one or the other. And for F1, they're earning more money. because I think the deal's worth 145 million, whereas ESPN were paying 90. So there you go, Murray. There you go. Yeah, so if you have an Apple TV account, I think you'll be able to, in the US, of course, only in the US, not in the UK. If you're in the UK, you'd still have to pay via Sky. And, of course, any other areas in Europe, whoever your service provider is for F1 coverage, you'd have to pay them for that. Or you choose F1 TV. If it's not locked, of course, here in the UK, we don't get the whole access to F1 TV and the onboards and stuff because Sky doesn't allow that. So that's part of the contract that they've got. Can I get a job at Apple TV as a commentator? I would be amazing. If they want to, feel free to come out and contact me. I will happily get involved with the TV coverage for sure. Any yellow flag or red flag? We did just have a yellow flag, red flag, yeah, for some debris in the last corner. Last couple of corners. Lance Stroll ran wide and something flew off from the underside of his Aston Martin. So thankfully, yeah, team's able to get back out there and we have cars on track again very quickly. Hey, Dusko, 2 weeks is too long to not have some F1. I know, man. It does feel like it's a long time. When you've been ill as well, yeah, well, you've been a bit run down. It does feel a very long time. Does ESPN have the rights outside the US? Because that is how I watch F1 through Disney Plus. I'm going to say yes. They have, well, no, they have the rights to show it in the US. That's it, literally. They're the US provider. And now they'll be losing that. ESPN won't be showing any F1 in the future. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. Yes, the family's doing very well, thank you. You're like me, you're with a cold. You should be happy to see the end of this season. What, cold flu season or the F1 season? We still have 6 races to go. Yeah, I don't think the international feed. I think you will keep the international feed still. That's my understanding, is that you'll be able to choose between F1 TV broadcast or the Apple TV broadcast. That's my understanding of how I've read it. Maybe that will be further clarified, and hasn't been clarified enough yet. But yeah, that's the brand news. Oh, and also, not so good news. Not so good news. Yeah, this. Let me have a look. So, I saved this, and I'm about to ruin a number of yours days. And I do apologise. Just very briefly. He's staying. He's staying. Corruption wins, guys. Who knew that a corrupt president of an organisation would hold on to power? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Boo! Exactly. Boo! Just... What a tosser. Excuse my language, guys. I really can't stand the guy. Really can't stand him. He is just manipulated. It's manipulated. He has manipulated that election. He has manipulated the whole process to favour himself. And how is it that it's Bernie Ecclestone's ex-wife or current wife who is the one who ends up, who has all, she basically decides. She decides who is FIA president. Simple as. There's a many people I could be talking about when I say that, Mike. But how come we don't get a vote, Ab? It's not a public vote. It's an inter-team, it's an inter-organisation vote. But I tell you what, though, I think there's going to be some big repercussions from it, from the FIA, from this re-election of Mohammed bin Sulayem. I really do. I think there's lots of people who have left, of course, over the years with his leadership. And there's lots of people who are still there now not happy. And I think you're going to see a lot of breakaways of organisations from the FIA in the future. And I still do think, I still do think, unless there is major change from him and how the FIA operates, I think there is going to be a new regulatory body that starts. I really do. I think the FIA has got to a point where it isn't fit for purpose. So, yeah, I think he's just a power-hungry and attention-seeking individual. He wants to be in every single photo opportunity and media opportunity that there is in F1 in particular. And yeah, I've spoken about him a number of times before, and I think he's one of the bad things about motorsport at the moment. So, you thought Toto Wolff's wife would run for FIA president? No, I think that was just a rumour. I don't think she's had any intentions to do that, so. It's amazing who you can influence when you've got lots of money. Very well. I sense a touch of sarcasm here. I'm interested to see what the TV ratings are for people who watch F1. I know it was getting very low in 2020 after Max 7th in a row, then very high in 21-22, then lower in 2023. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, to be fair. I don't know. I mean, I imagine it's definitely gone up, isn't it? Definitely gone up. So drivers, not much happening out on track at the moment, by the way, guys. So welcome for everyone tuning in. Just over 1,000 of you here for this FP1 session. We do have sprint quali in a few hours' time, sprint race weekend. Oh, yes. So drivers out there, Lewis Hamilton has set the fastest time at the moment of 34.8, but do not read too much into it. Drivers are out there doing their own long runs at the moment, doing their own run plans. We don't know fuel loads. We don't know engine modes. So there are many variables as to why a driver may not be going as quick at the moment. Of course, all of this data will be dissected by those in the know come the end of this session to see who was looking good on their long runs. We can have a little look at the end as well when we can see an accumulation of their lap times. And no doubts in probably the next 7 minutes or so, I reckon with like 20 to 15 minutes remaining, we are going to get those performance runs, those quali runs, as they dial in those setups for sprint quali. Did the FIA do something again? Yeah, Mohammed bin Sulayem has been confirmed as the president again for another 4 years. So the V10 and cussing was just a distraction. It was what he was doing with committee and the press fund. Everyone freaked out about driver fines and stewards. All this was clearly in the works. Yeah, look, I mean, if anyone who has been paying attention to what's been going on with the FIA, it's bad. It really is bad. And the amount of individuals that have come into roles and left, and the statements from those individuals as well about his leadership and just how the place is being run. I mean, he basically got rid of the independent investigator of the FIA. So they had someone internally in the FIA who would investigate corruption, basically, and investigate instances where there was rules breaches. And he was someone who was kind of like above reproach, this guy, and whatever he did, that goes. And he was investigating, he was tasked with writing a report and investigating Mohammed bin Sulayem's involvement in the overturning of a penalty for Aston Martin in Saudi Arabia, not last year, the year before. And he sacked the guy. The guy who was investigating him, he sacked him. He got rid of him. And now there's no such role. Like, what? Yeah, and they wanted to sign. He tried to get everyone to sign a new NDA agreement when it came to meetings and so forth, and that people have refused to sign this, and they're now not allowed in certain meetings because they're like, no, this is just too ridiculous for us to sign. I'm not signing this NDA. These gag orders, and it's just, yeah, that's just like the cherry on top, really. So it is a dictator for the FIA, and it's a shame. It is a shame. What do I think about the next cars being 3 seconds faster in the sim than the 2026 cars? I heard some sources. I'm taking everything that I hear about 2026 with a big pinch of salt at the moment. There's nothing... I don't think there's really anything that you can... All these simulations are exactly that. They're simulations. They're based on expectancies. And these regulations are very new. And, of course, they're just putting data in relation to what the FAA are thinking the regulations are going to provide and what the engines have been producing, no doubt. But I think until they get out on track, we aren't going to know how quick these cars can go. I'd be very surprised if they can go 3 seconds quicker than now, to be honest with you. I don't think these cars, especially in the first year of a regulation set, I just don't see that happening. These cars right now are the quickest they've ever been in F1 history, and they're at the end of a regulation set. And I don't see this new regulation set in their first year of iteration being 3 seconds quicker. I think that's ridiculous, to be honest. But yeah, there'll be... Take everything that you hear with 2026 with a pinch of salt. We will not know anything until we get to track in February, yeah. So that is basically it. McLaren not as fast or dominant as assumed, Kevin. Don't look into it too much at the moment. So they're just doing their long run sims. They're not out there for outright pace at this moment in time. So they are out there to do their target laps. They will have an amount of fuel on board that we don't know and are not privy to. And engine modes, etc. as well. So we'll get some push laps shortly. But they only have 2 sets of hards here this weekend, guys, and everyone is on a used. Everyone is used. They've only used 1 set of hards at the moment, guys. So they're not burning through their hards. When it shows that shows that they've got a second column, it means that they've come into the pits. So, what if the 2026 regulations get scrapped? They won't get scrapped entirely because that means that no one's got a car. If there's brand new regulations, then there's not a sufficient amount of time for teams to create a new car. It just wouldn't be feasible. But what will happen is that I imagine what we will see over the next couple of seasons is we'll see, this is a reason probably why the cost cap has been increased. So the cost cap has been increased. Oh, Kimi getting caught behind one of the Williams there, Albon, I think it was. This is why the cost cap has been raised to 215 million. I think it is up from like 136, 140. Because I think there's going to be a considerable... they probably already know there's going to be a considerable amount of change to the regulations throughout the next couple of seasons. And that means that the teams are going to need that money. They need that extra headroom to be able to adapt these cars and make the necessary changes to these cars in the coming seasons. That's what I think, because these regulations they are set in stone, but the teams are not happy with them at all. They're not happy with them, and I think there's a lot of unknowns heading into that first testing session. And it wouldn't surprise me if the cars that we see in that testing session look dramatically different when it comes to the first race of the season next year. Simon, oh crikey, you just saw the Racing Bulls livery. Ferrari is so good at making people delusional that people still think Charles is in the championship contention. Mathematically speaking, Lewis is still in contention as well. He's not mathematically out of it. Is it true that as a test, Lewis and Charles are completely different settings for practice? I don't know. There has been rumours that Charles Leclerc has been racing the car on a more aggressive setup and then dialing it back in the races. Of course, we know that car is fundamentally flawed. The car, as Lewis Hamilton reports, the throttle pedal is really... did he say stiff there? Or really heavy? But yeah, there's rumours that Hamilton's been running the more kind of stable setup, the safer setup when it comes to obviously ensuring that they don't get disqualified from the outset. And Charles Leclerc has been trying to go for the more aggressive setup and then dialing it back. I don't know. I think what is all an agreed consensus is that Ferrari have effed up their car for this season. So, Fearing one of my favourite sports is headed down a reality TV show road. Do you think? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it will ever. I don't think it will ever get that way. But I think the thing is that there's a genuine more. There's more of a genuine interest in the drivers now, and the people actually involved in F1 because of Drive to Survive and stuff than there ever has been. So. And I don't think that's going away. And that shows with just kind of like the fans online, the fan interactions that happen online, and how they will die for their fans. The fans will die for their drivers. Seems like literally they will. So that's why we try and keep it. That's why we try and keep it here. That a level playing field. You know, we criticise everyone equally. You've seen that in other F1 live F1 channels, they have team radios. Can I have them too? I can. I've had this asked many times before. I'm not going to because they move too quickly. The AI is not 100% accurate as well, and I just think it clogs up the stream that you see in front of you. I like to have a nice clean stream from my own personal experience, and I think that's... I don't think you necessarily need to see the team radios. I do listen to Sky, the TV coverage, and any important radio information I do relay to you guys anyway. So, how much is Lewis worth now these days? 500 million? Oh, he's worth more than that. I reckon he's probably upwards of 800. I reckon he's worth an absolute fortune. You've got to remember, he's on a £50 million a year. He's on, what, a £60 million a year contract, I think he is. I think his Ferrari contract took him higher paid than Verstappen. Then, of course, you've got all these sponsors as well, all of his business ventures that he's delved into. Yeah, let's put it this way. He's not going to head to your local grocery store and worry about what he's buying for dinner. He doesn't have to look at the price tags, that's for sure. I was going to say he doesn't have to worry about doesn't have to worry about going in there and buying the biggest steak and how much it is worth, but he doesn't eat meat, does he? The biggest lettuce. Doesn't have to worry about going in there and buying the biggest lettuce and looking at the price tag. It's the first vegetable that came to mind, guys. What do I think about the V8 returning soon? It's not confirmed, is it? But it has been muted for the V8. What they have said about... So what the engine suppliers, the engine manufacturers, Audi, Ford, etc., what they have stipulated is that they're not adverse to a V8 coming back into the sport, but there has to be some form of electrification to it. So there's always going to be some use of electrics with the engine. So yeah, we could see V8s in the future. Lewis doesn't have to worry about an expensive girlfriend as well. That's true. If LeBron James is a billionaire, he is too. It wouldn't surprise me. But the thing is, you never know. You never know sportsmen and people's true wealth. When you see the Forbes list come out, it's an estimation. Because ultimately, these guys have like their own investments. They have... Oh, as I'm looking at Lewis Hamilton, he locked up massively. Got caught up in a bit of dirty air there through turn 11. They have their own investments, stocks, shares, whatever it may be. They may be silent partners to some very big businesses. They have, of course, their own businesses as well. So, yeah, it's like an asset. You don't know how you can have an asset, but an asset can appreciate and depreciate. So, yeah, they may be worth something at a specific moment in time, and then the next day it's not worth as much. So. But one thing is for sure that he's earning definitely probably £1 million a week. So I think Ferrari should pay big money to Scott to be their race strategist and also test drive a sim driver. Just a race strategist is fine. Just a race strategist. I don't need to be test driver or sim rig driver. I don't need that pressure. Let's bring the Ferrari shirt out of the closet. I'll maybe bring it out this weekend. Yeah, I haven't worn it for a while, have I? So, remember when Hamilton first came out in 2007, people were calling him the $1 billion baby. Part owner of the Denver Broncos. Yeah, he is that as well. Who do I think will be driving for V-Carb next season? So I think I've got a sneaky suspicion Alex Dunn may be put alongside. I think they may give Arvid Lindblad another year in the RB. The rumours are that it is going to be Lawson and it was going to be Lawson and Arvid Lindblad. But I just feel like because Arvid Lindblad has made some glaring errors recently in F2, that they may have, and with Alex Dunn, they've always said that they liked Alex Dunn. With Alex Dunn leaving McLaren as well recently, I feel like something's happening there, and I feel like Alex Dunn may be stepping into that seat before Arvid Lindblad, because Arvid Lindblad is only in his first year in F2, and maybe they think he just needs a little bit more time, a little bit more development. He's only just turned 18 as well, so Dunn Lawson is a possibility, but you doubt it. We'll see. We'll see. Red Bull will be Max and Hadjar. Yeah, I agree. I think Isaac Hadjar is going to be in that second Red Bull seat. So 2026 regulations will affect racing. Will Mercedes come back? Well, that's the real question. So a lot of people are putting their faith and saying Mercedes are the front runners because they dominated the last engine dependence regulation set, which is 2014. But no one truly knows. No one knows. It could be Honda and Aston Martin are the fastest car. It could be Ford and Red Bull dominate again in a new regulation set. It could. I know it's a rare occurrence. It could be Ferrari, and Ferrari could dominate with their own power unit. So, yeah, we've got 4, and it could even be Audi as well. So we've got 5 different power units. We've got Audi, we've got Honda, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Ford. Ford/Red Bull powertrains. So yeah. There could be any one of those. We don't know. But yeah, the front runners, supposedly, just because of their track record with making good engines, is Mercedes. And I get it. I get it why people would think they're going to be the front runners. But truly don't know. Truly don't know. It'd be awesome seeing an Irish driver on the grid. I don't know the last time that happened. Who was the last Irish driver? Was it Eddie Irvine? I think Eddie Irvine was Irish, wasn't he? Eddie Irvine? Is Eddie Irvine? Northern Ireland. It's Northern Ireland. He is Eddie. He's a Northern Irish driver. I don't know. Is Alex Dunn is Republic of Ireland, isn't he? He is normal. I say normal Irish. He's Irish. You know. If George wins in 26, would Toto still drop him for Max? Would be a ruthless move. I don't know. I think, yeah, I know. I guess it's a really tricky one, isn't it? Okay, interesting. So George Russell is on the set of mediums, as is Hadjar. So they're not using the softs here, guys. So we'll see if anyone else comes out on softs. So this is now where we're going to see performance runs. We're in the closing stages of this FP1 session, just under 12 minutes remaining. And, well, what are we going to see? Medium compound, remember. So the Q1 and Q2 of the sprint quali is held on the medium compound tyre. It is only Q3 where the soft compound tyre is used. So we've got Yuki on the set of softs. So varying choices here. Some wanting to dial it in on the medium, some wanting to dial it in on the softs. Let's see how it plays out for them, shall we? Meki's already said Lindblad should stay in F2 for another year. Has he really, Dan? I haven't seen that. Maybe you've seen something that I haven't. But I think he was looking like he was going to be. He was putting in performances that looked like, okay, yeah, it might be worth him jumping straight into the second RB seat. But I think with the last few races, he's made some big errors, some rookie errors, that I think have probably raised quite a few eyebrows and have probably, with Alex Dunn becoming available, probably made them think, well, yeah, there's a lot more to Alex that we see and that we like. And they probably have learnt from Lawson as well. They've probably looked at the case of Liam Lawson and looked at him and gone, we rushed him too quickly into the main Red Bull seat. Last thing we want to do now is rush another junior driver into a seat thrust them into the public eye and end up ruining his chances and ruining his mental state. So Liam Gladys Horner's boy, was he? Oh, okay. Irish drivers do really well. Fionn McLaughlin. That's a proper Irish name if I've ever heard one. That's a great last name, McLaughlin. Just one British F4 and a sign of Red Bull in F3 for 2026. Oh, good Irish lads coming through. Is Austin more uphill than Spa? The elevation in both are big, but which is bigger? I think Austin has the higher peak. No, actually, no, I don't think it does. I think Spa has more elevation change, to be fair. Spa has more elevation, I think. Oh, Spa does have more... Okay, so Austin does have more elevation in terms of maximum height, but Spa has more elevation in terms of distance. There we go. There we go. That's what I was initially going to say, but then I was thinking, actually, I'm not quite sure it has a higher max elevation. But I think next year would be good for rookies as nobody else will have experience driving those cars. I agree, Mike. I do think, though, on the flip side, that 2026 is a good time to get rookies in because it is a fresh start for everyone. Same thing for what I mean for Isaac Hadjar as well. Next year is the best opportunity to go alongside Max Verstappen because it is arguably a level playing field. Yes, we know realistically it's not because it's Max Verstappen and he's a 4-time world champion, but for Isaac Hadjar, you'd rather join that Red Bull, take that second Red Bull seat now next year than now, this season, as an example, as we've seen Yuki struggle to do so. Right, George Russell, a 34.675 from him on the mediums. Lewis Hamilton's on the mediums. He's been the fastest man thus far. We'll see how he fares. I don't expect him to be at the top of the timing screens with Verstappen there on softs, as is Yuki as well. There's Lawson. Interesting, Liam Lawson went 12 thousandths of a second behind George Russell. That's looking good for him. What's going to be intriguing here is that it is a hot track. It's 45 degrees out there now, guys. Will the softs last a whole lap? That is really going to be the question here. I'm intrigued to see when these soft runners come round to see what lap times they do. Yuki's gone fastest. Okay, so Yuki has gone fastest. He's done 1.5 tenths quicker. So maybe that's just answered my question now. I was wondering maybe if the medium is actually a quicker tyre when it comes to qualifying, because it holds a better performance window for the duration of a lap here rather than the soft compound tyre. But we'll see. As Lonzo's gone fastest in the first sector. He's got 2 tenths quicker than Max in the first sector. He's actually gone purple in the second. Max Verstappen, a 33.6 from him. So that matches the fastest lap time that we saw in FP1 last year. Alonso's flying. He's another driver who does go well around here. He always finds himself scoring good points positions. Gasly into P5. Let's see if Alonso hasn't been hampered by a bit of traffic there, because I want to see Alonso go to the top of the timing screens here potentially. As 9 thousandths of a second quicker than Verstappen, Fernando Alonso. Do behave, as Lewis goes in there into P3, 3 tenths behind on the mediums. But he did see Alonso's last sector time there as well was 3 tenths slower than Verstappen's. That was because he got held up by traffic there. So I think the traffic did play a factor. Lando's on his out lap. Let's keep an eye on Piastri. Fastest in the middle sector. He's 3 tenths down in the first though. He's only gone third fastest. Maybe running a bit more fuel on board still. The McLarens. We'll keep an eye on Norris though. See how he fares. Anyone else on a push lap at the moment? Nico Hulkenberg is as well. We'll keep an eye on Nico and Lance Stroll as he's coming around the last couple of corners. Lance Stroll. Hadjar moves up into P9 on the mediums. A couple of attempts off of his teammate at the moment. Lance Stroll into P6. Oh my goodness, you're nearly a full 5. What can Colapinto do? We'll keep an eye on Norris as he makes his way through the first sector. Colapinto up into P2, slower than his teammate in P10, half a second off. Let's keep an eye on Norris though. Does he do a fast first sector? 25.3 for him in the first sector, so that's still 2 tenths down on Fernando Alonso. Now making his way down the back straight. So softs are finally faster than mediums. It does seem to be that way. Yeah, it does seem to be. So, okay, Nico Hülkenberg is third, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact Nico Hülkenberg is third does mean that most likely Verstappen and Piastri are running more fuel on board their car as Norris goes fastest in the middle sector. Wow. Fastest in the middle sector there for Lando. 37.4. That's 2 tenths, nearly 2 tenths quicker than Piastri, his teammate, in the middle sector. We'll see if he gets held up, though, in this last couple of corners. Alonso's going to be like, no, I want the fastest time in FP1. And just made a little jink there and lingered on the racing line, probably in the way of Norris. As he comes around the last corner across the line, and Norris goes fastest in the last sector. And, well, that is a 33.294 for Lando Norris compared to Alonso's 33.6. There we go. So 4.5 minutes remaining. I think that is a push lap by every single driver out there, apart from Ollie Behrman, who's on a push lap now, or on an out lap, and Carlos Sainz as well, who... Limited running for Carlos Sainz, actually, today, guys. Only 8 laps on the hard compound tyres. So, what has been the issue with Carlos Sainz today? Not boding well for him. My favourite track is Silverstone. British bias. But I love the track. I love to race it in the sim. And I love watching racing there. I think it's just a circuit that provides a great race due to multitude of reasons. The layout, the weather, and yeah, it always provides a great race. Sainz has a gearbox problem, does he? Oh dear. Oh dearie me. Yeah, they might have some cooling issues as well here this weekend. That's really where the Williams has struggled. And then when they have to, of course, increase the cooling, it means that the car gets slower. So Alex Albon currently 20th. He's on a second push lap, though, so we'll see how he fares. Is Charles going to do a push lap? Let's see if Charles does a push lap at the end. Isaac Hadjar, not happy on the radio. That's a bit better for Albon, up into P6. More bad luck for Smooth Operator, Simon. Yeah, he has had his fair share, but I do think he has... I think some of that bad luck... I think that excuse has been overused, though. I think his performance this season has been subpar at a number of circuits. And he has caused some of that bad luck. But yeah, look, he's been on a good run of form recently, isn't he? So... Gearbox troubles for Leclerc. He said he smelled oil and they called him and now he's out of the car. Oh, doesn't look good, does it? For Ferrari, if that is the case. An error for them. I mean, credit to Ferrari, though. They have made a reliable car, though, haven't they, this year? I'm trying to think of the times where they've not had... where they've had retirements due to mechanical issues. And I don't think really they've had any. I think a lot of those mechanical issues have plastered over the position. If you look at where Sainz has qualified, and if you look where he was running in the race when he had mechanical issues, I think he was nowhere near where he should have been. Now, I'm not to say he hasn't had bad luck this year, but I think it's been an overly used excuse for Carlos Sainz. And I think he has now. It does seem like he's getting up to speed with the car and the performance. But I think it's been an overused excuse this year. It's been a very much of a season of, oh, woe is me. Like Carlos Sainz. Oh, woe is me. Whereas I think there's been a lot more that he could have done in himself and with the car that... he could have, he should have been a lot closer to his teammate and should have scored more points. So, I'm a harsh man. It may seem harsh, but it's just my assessment from what I've seen. And that's what we do here. I don't ever toe the narrative. Lewis drove with 0 brakes last race. He should have retired. He should have retired. I think it was very naughty for them. Sorry, when I say mechanical issues, sorry, I'm now thinking why I haven't seen Ferrari have any mechanical issues this season, primarily. It's because they asked their drivers to lift and coast after lap 2. That's why. That's why. No wonder. No wonder they've had the mechanical issues, because they're asking their drivers to manage after lap 1. There we go, guys. Checkered flag for FP1. There we go. So, and I do agree, Lewis should have retired. I'm surprised he wasn't disqualified from the race, to be honest with you. And I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. Driving with fouled brakes is a big no-no for me from a health and safety concern. And I think he should have been disqualified for completing that race. Because as soon as it was evident that the brakes were gone, he should have retired the car. He should have pulled over in a safe space. But that's it. That's my last point on that. But yes, there we go. Norris and Piastri, as I expected, would be P1 and P2 for this weekend. And, well, it's looking good at the moment, isn't it, in that regard? Although Nico Hülkenberg is still on a push lap. Nico Hülkenberg's just gone fastest in the middle sector. Let's hold our horses here. We have a checkered flag. It is only FP1, the only practice session that we're going to see here this weekend. We are about to head, of course, to the sprint qualifying in a few hours' time. But Nico Hülkenberg is gone fastest in the middle sector. And he's going to finish this lap as well. He's not coming into the pit lane. Is he going to spoil the apple cart here? Oh, he is. He splits the two McLarens. Nico Hülkenberg. Very, very good. And that was also a second lap on that set of softs as well. So he's gone quicker on the second set of softs. And we probably saw that second set of softs there, the age of the tyre, just losing grip in the last couple of corners there. 30.769. You're talking only a couple of hundredths of a second slower, though. I'll show you 6 times in a minute. But, yeah, wow. Okay. Not quite the 1-2 for every single session, it seems, for this weekend. But Norris in with a 33.294. Of course, he was pole position here this last year, remember. Hülkenberg P2, Piastri P3, Alonso P4, only 3.5 tenths back. Verstappen P5, Albon P6, Russell 7th, Hamilton 8th on the mediums, as was Russell. Hadjar on the mediums in 9th as well. Behrman 10th, Ocon 11th, Bortoletto 12th, Tsunoda 13th. Tsunoda nearly a full second, 9 tenths off of his teammate Verstappen. Not great, is it? Lance Stroll in P14, similarly, a full second off of his teammate Fernando Alonso, up there 3 tenths back from the fastest lap. Liam Lawson on the mediums in P15, Colapinto 16th, Gasly 17th, Antonelli on the mediums in 18th. Sainz with an issue, which means he had limited running. And Charles Leclerc late at the end there to come into the pits. Didn't do a performance run because he has a suspected issue, maybe an oil leak or something, we don't know. So yeah, that is it for FP1. And well, let's have a look at the sectors. And we still don't know fuel loads, engine modes, etc. So there's still a lot of variables here, guys. But Alonso quick in that first sector. 2 tenths quicker than for Lewis Hamilton. Maybe turn the engine mode up a bit. Got a bit of extra top speed. Hülkenberg, though, as we saw there, fastest middle sector for him. So good there. And Norris in P2, Piastri P3. We can see the 2 McLarens are very quick in that last sector, where, of course, you've got the medium to high speed corners. So, yeah, that is basically it there. And I think something that's interesting as well, guys, if I show you the speed traps, well, we can see here that for the first time in a session, in a very long time, I'm seeing the McLarens in the top 5 when it comes to speed traps in any sector. Normally they're in the bottom 5. So McLaren running maybe a little bit less downforce here than they normally would, because that is surprising. That is surprising that they're, I mean, Verstappen, 227 kilometers an hour in the first sector. So he was quite slow in the first sector, Verstappen. 17th in the second. So that can indicate that they're running lower engine modes. It can indicate that they're running higher fuel modes. But we haven't seen that from McLaren pretty much all season, them being the top in the top 5 when it comes to speed traps in any sector, even ones that have lots of corners in them. So, what do I mean Alpine is the slowest car in 2025? I know. Hey, Jackie. Yeah, Lewis and Charles have somehow been hampered by their own damn team. F1 cars 4 brakes. Lewis only lost one brake with problems all the time. Rules need to be black and white, not grey. Yeah, I still think that even if you've lost a single brake entirely, that's just dangerous and you need to retire the car. So, Sauber is legit the slowest on the grid. How is it up there? I don't think it's the slowest on the grid. Alpine is the slowest, isn't it? Really? It is kind of track dependent, but I think the general consensus now is Alpine is the slowest. Best thing about sprint weekends is that we get 2 qualies. Yes, we do, and quali is very interesting at the moment. So, favourite for sprint quali, I'm still backing that it's going to be a 1-2 for McLaren. I do think that Norris will have the edge over Piastri here, just like he did last year. I think it's just another track that is a Norris track, to be honest with you. I could be wrong, but I think we're going to go back to kind of what we've seen where it's been very close between the 2 McLarens and not a lot to separate them. I think Max is going to be probably comfortably 3rd. He might be able to get involved in the 2 McLarens fighting. And as always, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the actual trims that they're running, like downforce trims. But it's quite telling that Max was one of the slowest when it came to these speed traps. So he's either running more wing, more downforce, or they had the engine mode turned down quite considerably. So, but I do think this is just a McLaren track. I think they're going to be very quick here, very dominant. And I think also what is going to help them is that when it comes to the race, their tyres are just going to be so much... They're just going to be able to look after their tyres so much better than everyone else. This is the first track really where I think we're coming to where we're seeing very hot temperatures, where temperatures... Not necessarily the abrasiveness of the circuit, because it was relayed. Was it last year or 2 years ago? But the temperatures in particular, the thermal degradation, is something that I think McLaren will be supreme on when it comes to other teams. So, would I merge, shorten the Dakota track from turn 13 to 17? What are we looking at? No, I don't think so, because I think we see a lot of... The problem is that this isn't a hard braking zone, turn 19, so if you merge 13 to 19, I don't think there's still going to be enough of a run for them out of turn 13 to turn 19, and to outdo someone on the brakes, whereas out of turn 15, you're able to take different lines there. You can straighten out your exit, you can force the guy on the inside to defend, and if you've got extra grip, you can try and overtake around the outside, or you can lunge it down the inside. I wasn't a fan of that section when it first came out, but I think it actually does provide some interesting racing. So, blame Ferrari for not retiring, or FIA for not flagging as the driver Lewis Hamilton's. No, I don't blame the driver. The driver will carry on if they are allowed to. Of course they will. But yeah, no, I'm saying the FIA, the stewards, should have told him to retire the car. Or Ferrari as well. But Ferrari also, if they're going to be able to get a driver finishing the points and the FIA aren't going to punish them for it, then of course they're going to do that. So really, I think the blame lies with the FIA in that regard, if you're looking back at Singapore. So, this session has now finished. FP1 has now finished, guys. Hoggerbird the goat there, yeah. It's only FP1 though. He's probably just turned the engine up, but yeah, it's interesting. Heading into sprint quali in a few hours' time, so be sure to turn your notifications on, hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Big thank you for everyone for tuning in, as always. It's going to be... Remember, the first 2 sprint sessions as well, sprint quali sessions, are on the mediums, so that always can provide some drama because some perform better on the mediums than on the softs. So it's going to be an intriguing one. You want both McLaren to be in pole 1 second so that they do some dirty racing and cause a collision which results in DNF and Max wins the race. Maybe. I mean, we saw last year Charles Leclerc go up the inside and win from 4th place. So, yeah. You'd like to think that Lando, if he does qualify on pole, will cover that inside corner off as tight as possible, though, for the race tomorrow or Sunday. You think Lewis should just retire, too washed to compete? You're entitled to your opinion, and I disagree with that opinion. I don't think he's washed. I think, like Alonso, I think they're two drivers who they have showcased, and I've said this before, they're two drivers that, while one of them is 44, I think Alonso's 44 or 43, and while Hamilton's 40, I think they've showcased, particularly in this regulation set, that while they maybe don't like the car and the heaviness of it and so forth, when they have a car underneath them and they're confidence drivers, when they have a car underneath them that they're confident in, they are fighting for relevant positions. So in Hamilton's case, it has been for Mercedes and fighting for race wins and for podiums. And for Alonso, at the start of the regulation set, it was fighting for podiums. And then even now, it's fighting for top 5s and top 10s. So I think, and you could disagree with me, but I still think if you had, like we did in 2008, if we had Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso in those McLarens this season, not just because of the car, but because of those two drivers, I think you would see one epic championship battle between the two oldest drivers on the grid, because they are, they still have it, in my personal opinion. So Holgerberg is hungry for something and his belly is full from Oktoberfest. No, Roseald, good to see you, mates. When your own mechanics and pit boss frigs up your car and race strategy, how do you call that washed? Yeah, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, of course they are. But what we do here is we try and give a level. We try and put logic behind those, but that's the great thing about opinions, isn't it? Everyone has one, and we can all agree to disagree. So, but there we go, guys. That is it for this session. I'm going to dip off now, go grab myself some dinner here, as it is night time in the UK, and then we'll be back in a few hours' time for Sprint Quali. You can hit that like and subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and it's going to send you straight over to that stream now. So, see you then. Bye.